Hello, and welcome to this session on scaling businesses with digital marketing. Today, customers have moved online. They're spending maximum time on the medium for most of their activities, be it entertainment, education, buying groceries, or shopping. As a result, brands have upped their play on the digital medium and are now connecting with their audiences there. They have increased their budgets on the medium for search, display, social, content, improving UX, UI, and much more, as they realize that digital is the key medium and will play a key role in scaling their businesses. So, without wasting any further time, let us now hear from the brands on how they are leveraging digital medium to grow their businesses, interact with their target audiences, and map the future. I now invite my guest for the day. My first guest for the day is Mr. Hirak Bhattacharjee, Director Shalimar Chemical Works. Welcome, Hirak.
Hi,
Glad. Thank you
and
for
hello to all the speakers today.
my next guest for the day is Mr. Swapnil Malpathak, Business Head Digital, Sakal Media Group. Welcome.
Hello,
Swapnil.
thank you.
Glad you could make it, Swapnil. Thank you. My next guest for the day is Mr. Meet Merchant, Head Marketing Strategy and Digital, Oberoi Reality. Welcome, Meet.
Hello, everyone, and glad to be a part of this panel today.
Thank you for taking our time, Meet. Thank you. My next guest for the day is Mr. Vineet Jain, Chief Operating Officer, VMart Retail. Welcome, Vineet.
Hi, good evening, and thank you very much for invitation and looking forward for the good discussion.
Thank you. And my final guest for the day is Ms. Neeti Walia, Head of Accelerated Growth, GCS IN Google. Welcome, Neeti.
Hi, Devesh, and hi, everyone. Excited to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you for taking our time for this, Neeti. Thank you. So I'll begin with a very simple question first. The advent of digitization has chronicled huge changes in businesses and consumer behavior. So what are some of these shifts that you have seen? Swapnil, let's begin with you first.
All right. In our industry, Devesh, we've seen tectonic shifts in digital. So initially, all our publishers or the ecosystem or the media publisher ecosystem were giants deep in sleep before the pandemic.
Okay.
But the pandemic basically woke us up. It was like a hard shake up for us that we need to be digital first and we cannot rely on the traditional print and television systems. So digital, if we look at it, publishers come from a supply side. That is, we create the ad inventory for digital marketing that is required for brands like VMart, Oberoi Realty, and the others on call for to target their consumers. So we are the ones who are creating the supply.
Okay.
And let me be very frank on this front that the supply has been through the roof since the pandemic. So ECPMs globally have gone down. The supply has gone up. Everybody who has some journalistic knowledge or some knowledge of creating content has started creating content on his own website or platform.
Right.
He integrates Google AdSense, and voila, he has ad inventory on his platform. So now everybody is essentially a digital publisher. So now it's become a tougher ground for us. We are fighting small players, SMEs, as well as giants for our share of the market. But overall, from an organizational perspective, like I said, it's a tectonic shift. From a print-first organization, we are moving towards a digital-first organization.
Interesting. Vineet, how are you seeing these consumer shifts?
Sure. So there is, let me update how the things moved from the business first. So we are primarily a physical retailer. Some time back, I can say, right? And hardly a business we got from the omni or the online trade. So in the 2 years time, the business some 2 to 3% of the business we got from the online segment also. And if I'm talking the recent one, the last festive recently we celebrated, our 20% allocation of the total marketing spend went to the digital media only. It was like a year back, it was hardly a percent type. So that's the seriousness we have. And moving again from the serious player of the omni retailer or the online also, we just acquired the LimeRoad platform marketplace, which is
Absolutely.
quite large marketplace. In 2019, it was like number third or number fourth in India as a marketplace after the Amazon and Flipkart and Myntra and all. So that's the seriousness we have, and we are looking. I think the way the consumers are shifting, the way the consumer consumption or the customer consumptions moving in that direction. That's the reason we have taken those kind of decisions. Uh, Obviously, when we look at, like, since we are in retail and serving to our customers directly, so we have the very first hand feel what is happening in the market, and that too again our larger chunk of the business is coming from the rural, which is like primarily the tier 3 and tier 4 towns. Good 70-80% business is coming from those towns only. So when we are talking with the customers and when we are like connecting our customers, one thing is very, very clear that the awareness level of the customers and consumers went up significantly. So that's
Okay.
a one big shift I can say. Now the world is flat. Earlier we used to see like the fashion generally coming into the trend. It's always start with the major metros or the tier 1 towns. So generally we are calling like Chandigarh is the one place where the fashion actually enter, then move to Delhi, and then go to the entire India. So reaching at the tier 3 towns and tier 4 towns, it generally took a year time or 1.5 year time or 2 years time also. But recently, I can say that it's hardly a 2 months, 3 months here and there, the things are moving. So what the consumers are consuming in tier 1 in the major metros, or what they are wearing and what the fashion asking they have in tier 1, the similar kind of trend we have witnessed. So giving the one small example, like denim, we all wear the denim, jeans and all, right? In the ladies, like
Right.
the 20% mix is coming from the flared jeans, like bell bottom. That's a recent trend, and the trend hardly started one year back in the India. And now, when I'm looking at the sales mix and all, the 20% business of the jeans and denim business is coming from the flared jeans only. So that's the speed we have seen. The customer awareness level improves significantly, and obviously one thing is like earlier, generally, that in the physical retail, there is a foundation of the boundaries. Like you have the say 7,000-8,000 square feet area, you can keep say around 50 to 60,000 pieces. Now with the digital world, there is an endless aisle, which means that what is not available in the store also, we can clearly, the customer can see that and they can give the order there also. So those are the shifting and the movement happened recently, I can say in the year time or 1.5 year time.
No, I believe, Vinit, you are absolutely right, because there is a lot of, how do I say, the content consumption has changed a lot. People are seeing, a lot of reels, a lot of social media promotions, a lot of content that has been created by the creators, they're seeing it. And online has made it accessible with the delivery system, aligning it to it. There's a huge distribution channels which have opened up. So that has kind of changed the entire system.
Yeah, and just
Absolutely.
adding one thing more, Devis. One thing, the big shift we have seen that earlier the consumption was supply led. What I mean to say, what you are keeping in the stores, physical stores, that these customers are at the end of the day they are buying that. But now the awareness level is humongous. Okay, they know what is running, what is not running. So they are demanding. If you are not the relevant player in the brick motor, then the customer will leave your store also. Which means you have to be like now the business shifting from the supply led to the demand led. So you have to be with the customers, and if you are not relevant, then the people will discard the stores also.
Absolutely. Meet, coming to you. So I'll give you a instance that I had with another gentleman from the reality sector during one of my recent conversations with him. So he told me that during the lockdown period, they were able to sell flats worth more than 1.5 crore rupees via online, and it was a huge consumer shift, which he told me. So I want to hear your opinion. What are the kind of consumer shifts that you have seen?
Yeah. So I think Devesh, the gentleman, is absolutely right. In fact, real estate has been in the phase of transformation over the past 5-6 years. And the COVID period and the lockdown sort of accelerated the entire transformation journey, where not only the real estate players, as the developers per se, but also consumers were sort of not forced but inclined to shift towards digital mediums because there was no other physical medium available then. So I would say, as Obra Realty, being a premium real estate developer, we are extremely focused on giving the right experiences to the customers. So even our sales offices are called experience centers because we provide much more than just the sales offerings per se. So what happened during COVID and post-COVID is we moved those experiences to the digital medium. So things like virtual realities, chat bots, other digital engagement tools were introduced, and I would say this entire digital transformation added to the customer's experience and did not completely replace it. So the end purchase cycle. So yeah, there will be exception cases that purchase real estate digitally. The end purchase still is pretty physical, but the entire digital life cycle of the customer pre him taking the choice of whether he wants to purchase or no just enhances his experience. And because it is so transparent and it is so easily available, consumers are choosing their initiation of the discovery journey to start with digital now.
That's very interesting because the product that comes out from your stable is of one of the highest ticket sizes. Okay.
Absolutely.
50 lakhs, crores, 1.5 crores, 2 crores. And traditionally, Indian people have never been used to buying reality online. So that's the absolute beauty of what COVID has done and how digital transformation is taking place. Hira, coming to you, what are the kind of consumer shifts that you have seen?
See, for us, we are from I'll give a big brief background about our line of business. We are into FMCG, and our unit size and SKU it starts from 20 rupees and it goes till 300 rupees, 400 rupees, like that.
Yes.
So why I mentioned this? Because when before COVID also, the digital media was there. It was a aspiration of all the companies in the FMCG business to set up their own online store, and it was just like a value addition of the brand to improve the image of the brand. Now it became certainly a element of choice, and it became so much mandatory that we are having our own team right now over here, those who are looking after the consumer behaviors and the shift of the consumers, which is affecting the pack sizes. And there are some positive and there are certainly some drawbacks of digital in the FMCG sector. Since the unit price is so low, so sometimes the logistical part is not favorable for the business, but yet we keep it there. And normally our biggest presence is in the general trade, and now before 2020 our digital dependency was around 0.25% of the total turnover, what we do now. And now after 2020 and with listings everywhere, now it is contributing more than 10 to 12%. So it has been growing drastically. And now previously we have observed through different kind of AIs, intelligent platforms, what we have used. See, the consumer is not looking right now for the brands right now online. They want a usage specific result. Ultimately, they are looking for information rather than they're looking for a product. So right now we have to be very much informative, and it should be authentic, and we must match to the consumer aspirations if we have to be in the game. For example, there are many brands who are digital only right now in FMCG.
Right.
So there are many D2C brands. We have seen a lot of new age brands which are coming up. We have seen their presence online is far superior than the traditional brands, and the traditional brand, maybe by value of turnover and all, the traditional brands are doing good. But the thing is, in the digital, media, in the digital platform, these traditional players also have changed their entire marketing and budgeting plan from a digital by choice rather than digital always, and being traditional by choice, because we have to keep our foot in both the boats right now to be ahead of the game. Now there are many different kinds of shifts. One shift is the unit price is an issue, which is a like for that reason what we have evolved some value added products only for the D2C platforms, and then
True.
we are the for the D2C platforms. And then what we have done is we have changed the what we call it in general trade the value packs. We cannot sell value packs online, so we have to there are different channels for the different SKUs right now.
Correct.
So there are a lot of plus and minuses. A big discussion can go on, but in short, the FMCG dependency on the digital platforms and the FMCG pickups from the
Yeah.
digital reviews, what we have on Reels, through Instagram, through Facebook, whatever, what we are doing right now. So it is actually shifting from a spotlight centric. For example, previously, I'll make it a little bit a little bit raw. See, people used to hire big celebrities and all to get their products moving off shelf, and people used to there was a star value which used to add to a product. Right
Mhm.
now, the product has its own value. Now your product is the star, so you have to project your product in such a way which has got a lot of usage, which what is the USP of the product, and people are like concentrating on that rather than who is endorsing it. So
Correct.
in that way also our game of marketing plans and everything are changing, evolving every day.
No, I believe you made a very interesting point here. It's about the information that is assisted with the product on the online space is very important, because people, you rightly mentioned that, people are looking at from a usage point of view. They are, less reliant on, obviously, I believe the legacy of the brand name plays its own
Yes.
part, but they're still looking at whether it applies to the use case that they have currently now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coming to you, Niti, you've heard everyone, Hira, Swapnil, Vineet, Meet, sharing perspectives from their category and the kind of consumer shifts, they have seen in each of their categories. So I want to ask you this, do you see these shifts as long-term shifts? Because all of them has, kind of up their digital budgets, like Hirak mentioned, it's gone from 0.25 to 10%, and the kind of, contributions which are coming in from the digital side. So are you seeing, this digital trend as a long-term or a permanent kind of a shift, or it's, still, I mean, like, we can say that, this is a temporary shift?
Thanks, Devesh, for this question. Actually, I think we've been on this digital journey as a country for over a decade. Like, think about it, in 2012, we just about had 3G coming in. Then came 4G, then came Geo, then came demonetization, and of course, then came the pandemic. And with every macro or technology advancement, we've seen the number of internet consumers only increase. I mean, standing in
Correct.
2022, we have almost 700 million internet users, which is like half this country, and more people are coming in. So I feel like this trend one is growing if you look at it year on year. And so there is consumption, and without value, the consumption will just not keep increasing.
True.
Then we have to also see that different verticals, different categories have seen digital and its impact differently. And I'll take an example of, say, the pandemic. There were some categories which experienced shock, right? Like, you went into a grocery category and there was no way but to become online because the consumer had to move online. And of course, they saw like a huge spike in the pandemic, and the growth rates have slightly like come down in terms of the user. But that category saw shock and now is, I could say, largely online. Like, it's an omni-channel category which typically didn't have online consumption, but now I'm sure all of us have ordered something online which is pertaining to
True.
grocery over the
True.
last few days. Then comes the other category where there has been regular stickiness of the consumer. I mean, think of skincare, think of apparel. We've named certain partners, whether it was Myntra or Nike or any other partner, right, where you've seen those brands grow as the internet grew over the last decade, and there is repeat purchase behavior happening. There's stickiness in that category from the consumer only because there is a lot of purchases which are driving the growth in that category. And then comes the maybe the new and the upcoming categories, and there are plenty, but I'm just going to take, say, home and garden as a category. Since the pandemic, that's been one of the categories where consumers are turning out more and more and going online. And it's not just commodity buying. Look at interior designing services or home care products, etc. Like a lot of that has also seen an increase. So look at the macro, look at the manifestation of that macro in different verticals, and then comes the actual consumer, and how is that behavior going to be sticky or not. Consumers are finding value in the experience that they have online. And let's you look at, like, say, retail, for example. In fact, 65% of Indian shoppers are going online to buy a product that they bought in store previously. There is more variety. It's ease of exploration and shopping in comparison. Deliveries are
Right.
becoming efficient day on day. Like, I mean, as a consumer, I just look at the delivery and return experience I have at my doorstep, and I feel
Absolutely.
compelled to keep going back and shopping online. And if you see even offline businesses, like we were talking about, reality is one example, but even jewelry traditionally in India was such a let me go to my trusted jeweler and purchase and feel the product. And now you have brands like Tanishq, you have brands like Carrot Lane in partnership with Tanishq, right? Where you see that the experience is not just offline. Now it's become hybrid. And in fact, there are now so many companies which are jewelry brands, but they're digital first. They don't even have a storefront. And they have more experience centers. So that also is a proof point that the consumer is not only experiencing the internet as a consumer of information, entertainment, video, gaming on their phone, but actually driving meaningful life decision purchases of a variety, ranging from a small value, which is maybe more centered around convenience, to high value. So I
Right.
feel like this is going to end up being a more long-term permanent shift. It's become part of who we are and our day-to-day routine.
No, that's absolutely point taken, because and experience is something which has changed. I believe that the adaptation or the adoption of digital, because the return experience, the ordering in 10 minutes, and how the consumer does not have to go there, like very rightly mentioned about jewelry. People can buy jewelry at their disposal, by just selecting from a plethora of options available online. So it has made life very simple. Absolutely. So Harik, now coming to you. Okay, how are you now distributing your advertising budget, between traditional and digital mediums? And I'm starting this with because uh, being an FMCG brand, okay, it was always traditional, where the advertising budgets were gone, and it was a tough transformation to have, where you have to spend your budgets on the digital also. So how has been that journey, and what are the kind of budgets that have gone between digital and traditional?
See, we have when the digitization started. To be honest, in the beginning, all the FMCG players were a little bit reluctant on expanding their advertisement budget. But right now, I would say that we have decentralized the budgeting system, and we have followed something which is called, like, we call ourselves a very local brand for a very
Okay.
small locality. Now that depends on that area, and the advertisement budget is regulated based on that area, whether the traditional will work or the digital platform will work, because generally it depends on the market where you are targeting. See,
Okay.
because there are some places where your brand, which is a traditional brand and which has got brand years of around 40 to 50 years, then you have to keep that balance between traditional. In the traditional space, we are doing the traditional modes of advertisement. In the digital space, we are much aware, much more content aware advertisements, by where we are showing how to use our products and what are the different applications of our product. For example, our flagship brand is coconut oil. Okay, so this coconut oil, what are the uses of coconut oil, and how people can use it? It's an edible grade coconut oil what we manufacture, but the usage is different in different places. Same like in mustard oil also, what we are having, the usage will be different. Now the usage is not defined by the packaging, but the usage, maybe a person will buy a 5-liter jar and keep a small portion for applying on the skin, a small portion for cooking, like this, so this depends on on the digital platform. Overall, we know the people who are using the digital platform, they are very much aware of how the contents are on the digital space. So
Right.
we develop our budgeting part for digital platform is separate and traditional. But if I go by percentage, the value of traditional marketing is still much bigger if I consider value. But
Okay.
application wise and branching out wise for the digital space, because it's much affordable right now, so that is coming, like the branching and the distribution of the budget is much higher in the digital space. But traditional,
Interesting.
like very simply I will say, I'll say that suppose you're doing doing some ATL campaign or something for some new product. So that digital campaign, if you're going to some TV channels, the price will be different. Now when we are working on digital, you're targeting Facebook, IG, and then you're going for the Google retargeting team. You have the AI bots who are continuously coordinating with your e-commerce store, like this. Now on the digital platform, when you are in our line of business, when we are doing the marketing, we are driving them not to the store in his locality, we are driving them to our e-commerce site, right? Or on Amazon, Flipkart, Meesho, whatever. Now when the traditional ads are going on, we are driving them to the general store over there. So we are available, we have to take the fruit from both the trees, actually.
Absolutely.
Like, we have to take the advantage of both. Right now in the digital space is there, traditional is also there, but the thing is, the right now the costing wise, if I see the value wise, traditional is much higher, but the segregation and distribution of digital and involvement of activities, like involvement of many of the parties who are into the activity, are much higher in the digital space right now.
Interesting. Vineet, you have recently invested into a digital platform, acquiring Limeroad. So I believe, you have some really big digital plans, for the near future. So how are you, segregating the traditional versus digital budgets? And like Hirak also mentioned, the part application, understanding your customer, the needs, and hyper localizing, understanding it, via the hyper localizing way. So what's the strategy that you have in distributing your advertising budgets?
So there is what I feel it's a journey. What I just quoted, like just a year back, the hardly spend in the digital marketing and all. It's like 1% allocation of the entire marketing spend through digital. But over the 1 year time, every month it is going up. I can say 3-4 months back, it was like 5 to 7% spending in the digital. But recently, I can say the festive period, our 20% marketing allocation happened to the digital only. So it's a very large chunk, I can say. And yes, there is a lot of pressure always, when you are moving out of the traditional and entering in the digital marketing and all. So pressure is also there. But honestly speaking, I can say there is no choice right now. So largely the 3-4, the last thing I can say, the gamification, it's really doing wonders. Then influencer led. I think first time we adopted leverage the entire Bharat influencer. Why I'm saying the Bharat, it's like, the each and every city and the pocket of the market, it's like influenced by the different influencers. In the south, the Kerala is a different, then again TN is different, AP is different, UP is different. So we taken around 130 influencers during this festive period. Not many the known faces, the large macro influencer, I can say. We use that. The third pillar is like performance marketing, which is like more in the nature of the tactical. So that also we are doing, and CLM, which is like customer loyalty programs and all. So those are like communicating those customers through WhatsApp and other messages, giving some reward and something like that. So these things are primarily happening. But one thing I can say again that honestly there is no choice with us, and 1 year time moving from a percent to 20%, it's a big call. So that we taken, and now the phase will again change. What you rightly said, that the Lime Road also into picture. So I believe it will further multiply from here.
Yeah. So I'll summarize it as, I'll summarize it in a way that digital is the way of life.
Absolutely,
going
absolutely,
forward.
no choice. Yeah.
Right. So me, in the case of the reality sector, I still believe that traditional advertising plays a very big role, and the large format hoardings, big print media ads, they constitute to a large chunk. How is it you are dividing your budgets, since the discovery part of the product starts online, so a lot has to be done in terms of creation of content, in terms of connecting with the right people. So search, display, how does it work in distribution of the budgets?
So Devesh, I think digital, like my fellow panelists are pointing out, digital is the way to go. There is no two ways about it, and for very obvious reasons of the reach that it has, the low cost of entry that it has, the availability of experimentation for you. So all the traditional mediums that are available right now are all high cost mediums. So whatever you do, you end up incurring a very high cost at a risk of not knowing whether it will work or not. And the last point being trackability. So digital as a medium is extremely trackable, and the ROIs are justified for every pennies that you spend. So comparing traditional marketing to digital marketing, I think marketing right now is sort of ubiquitous. There is even when we look at marketing, we don't sort of look at it between acha, this is the budget that let's put this budget in traditional marketing and this budget in digital marketing. Rather, what will appeal to the customer better, and most of the times digital has been a channel of choice, but still there is some bit of there is a shift happening towards digital, and strong shift happening towards digital, both from a brand building standpoint as well, and obviously there is a straight ROI conversion that you can see for performance marketing. For us per se, as real estate company, the products that we have at offer are also very micro market based. So a project at a location A versus a project at a location B might appeal to completely different consumer sets. And digital gives us that opportunity to sort of bifurcate, cut, slice the customers and segments to reach out to those relevant audience, be it in a certain geography or be it appealing to a certain demography or a certain value of the product. So traditional marketing medium sort of lose out on those advantages because you can't really bifurcate there. And hence, for Oberoi Realty, digital has been a medium of choice over the past few years.
No, interesting. Swapnil, coming to you now. Sakal Media has been a traditional player, and expanding, and you have a very big, you have a big digital side of the publisher also. So is the legacy of the publisher being the traditional player, comes into the play when expanding into the digital side of the business? Because the news remains the same. When I have a habit of reading the newspaper daily morning, and I am accessing day in, day out my job on my laptop and my mobile. Okay, so then I tend to be loyal to your brand, as well as sometimes would want to read the news on my different platforms on the either on the e-paper or by discovering it across different platforms. So how does it work for you? I don't want to go on the distribution of the budget, advertising budget, because it may not be relevant in your case. I want to look at it from a content point of view.
Right. Devesh, the legacy does help. It's a 90-year-old legacy, and no one can contradict that. That has established amazing credibility in the market, along with the connect with the audience. So if you come to Pune and if you talk about Sakar, people are emotional about it. Like people will not have their morning cup of tea without the newspaper, right?
Absolutely.
And what happened in the past 2 years is that started changing. So I believe Maharashtra was the only state where newspapers weren't circulated, right, during the pandemic. Rest of the country, newspapers were being circulated. And so we saw amazing jumps in our monthly active users. So to be exact, we doubled our user traffic. And then we were very scared. I spent a lot of sleepless nights that will we be able to sustain this growth once the pandemic is over? All right, what is going to happen? Are we going to lose this traffic? And then what do I tell my MD? So this was this whole journey that was happening, and we started taking measures. We started creating content which somehow helped other brands as well. So this was, I would call it, contextual marketing. We started creating properties for brands. So, for example, during the pandemic, we launched 8 podcasts. All right, and we became the first Marathi publisher to have a suite of podcasts at our disposal as marketing products. And believe it or not, Hirak won't probably believe me, but there was a FMCG brand that tied up with us without having a single listener on board. Amar Tea Company, Society Tea brand, and they were the first ones to jump on board, and we called that podcast Sakarcha Batmya. So basically morning news, and so morning news and tea goes hand in hand. And without having a single listener on board, the brand immediately associated with the concept and came on board with us. For a good 1 odd year, they were our partners on that podcast. So now what we've realized, since most of our panelists are from big brands, what we've realized is contextual content is helping such brands. We are trying to create. So for meat, we have a property called Swapna per square foot. So dreams per square foot, essentially. So this is a digital property that we created, wherein we started taking celebrities to construction sites. Being a publisher, we had easy access to celebrities. So we capitalized on that, and we started creating properties for real estate players. The celebrities used to spend a day at the construction site, meet the families, customers, so on and so forth. And what we realized was even the traditional digital approach is not going to help anymore. Just having ad inventory on your website is not going to help. Like I mentioned previously, the ECPMs have gone down to an extent wherein it's not sustainable. The P&L will go for a toss if I remain dependent on such revenue sources. So now we have to come up with all these things. We have to come up with new innovations for brands to come and advertise with us. And even in Europe, I believe most of our panelists must have at least once, sometime have been to Europe and bought a newspaper in Europe. If you look at the newspapers in Europe, the Sunday newspaper is like 30, 40 pages. You can read it throughout the week. And that's an innovation that they're calling it an innovation. And most of the ads in that newspaper are contextually placed. So there are pages dedicated to a particular category that they're talking about, and then there are careful insertions of brand mentions which are done very carefully. But the association is very clear, and the objective is achieved that yes, this brand has been advertised. So we are looking at innovations from this perspective. Marketing, like you said, Devesh, we don't spend much money, but we've partnered with Google, we've partnered with a lot of, we've partnered with MSN and all these players, or tech giants, ET's organization, of course. And Google also has a Google News initiative. Facebook has a Facebook journalism initiative. So what happens is everybody is creating an ecosystem, everybody is helping each other. And one thing that I must mention for brands is brand safety. So what happens is when you advertise with a publisher like Sakar or Times of India, you are secure that your ad won't appear to some nasty content. Your ad will be next to credible content which can be validated, right? But when you advertise randomly through, let's say, native advertisement partners or people like this, then you don't know where your ad is going to appear next to what. What will it be? There might be a murder news, and your ad might appear to next to that. Something might happen, right? But
Right.
long term, what we see is building credible ad inventory and contextual ad inventory
Right.
for partners like our esteemed panelists, so that this media vertical stays alive and prospers.
Right, right, right. Coming to you, Neeti, all the panelists have shared, in terms of what are the kind of, advantages, or not exactly the advantages, but how they are, leveraging the digital medium. Like, Swapnil, like Hirak mentioned about, using the hyper local part and the application part. Vineet mentioned about, analyzing it, and, Meet mentioned about, how they are, focusing on different aspects. So, have you seen some interesting businesses in the last couple of years that you have seen pivoting online, and what are the advantages of adapting to the digital medium? Firstly, I want to understand that particular part from you.
I've been like selling digital ads to a lot of customers over the last decade. And one thing that's consistent when we speak to our advertisers across industries, that everybody's looking for sales. Like that's the hardcore reality, that at the end of what you're looking for is sales. And we've when we meet customers, we believe that a lot of times we believe that our consumers journey is very linear. They'll first go into this awareness funnel, then they will consider, and then they will go and buy. But
Right.
what we are seeing is that the consumer behavior has shifted. We are also seeing that now it's not linear. It can go anywhere. You can literally, today you can think that, hey, I want to buy shoes, and all of you could do a search and start shortlisting. Some will shortlist by color, some by brand, some by price. And you could get to a point where you get to a stage where you're comparing between different brands. Then you may not like what is available, and then you may go back into exploration stage. So one is that the consumer behavior again is not linear, and digital is that platform where we get to experience that. And I think brands are having to what do you say, adapt to this medium is point number one. That how do you kind of speak to the audience here. And there are different case studies, right? There are case studies where we've seen digital first companies, like whether it's Mama Earth, Wow Skin, where they've invested in digital, whether it's upper funnel, etc., and they've gone and seen brands built with the digital first. Yesterday, I was reviewing where a traditional company, in fact, launched SKU. I'm sure you've all heard of the micellar water, the Garnier micellar water. It was an SKU that was digitally first launched, right? Where they, for a brand which is omni-channel present, they actually launched a digital first SKU and built a digital first brand. So yes, there are different proof points depending on the kind of customer, etc. But I'm going to maybe dig deep and talk about, say, a cement brand. So like we spoke about Ultra, like there's a customer of ours which is Ultratech Cement, right? They've gone ahead and driven purchase intent for their product in the rural segment. Now think about it. Rural was something that you didn't kind of associate with digital years ago, and now we have huge diversity of consumers online. You not only have people only from urban, or what you say, the segment that was English speaking only. Now you have like a diverse vernacular speaking audience, and Ultra Cement actually went ahead and got purchase intent through their consumer. And it actually, not only was it able to drive reach, purchase intent, but also measure the response of the consumer in specific states. For them, it was, for example, Bihar and Jharkhand. So they were able to do that. So that's just one of the examples where we've seen that brands are first recognizing the non-linear consumer journey on digital. then adapting different ways. Sometimes it's only a video only model, sometimes it's performance and video, sometimes it's predominantly performance, and moving parts of the funnel which are considered to be more upper funnel, right? More consideration, more awareness, and seeing impact on that. And then, of course, we have seen digital first and digital only brands also come alive. I'm sure we are all consumers of those also.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what an interesting example, looking at ultra tech cement, driving purchase intent across the areas of Bihar and Jharkhand, especially in the rural areas, where, digital, if one has to consider, may not be considered as the first medium. Very, very interesting one. So, before I close the day, in a quick nutshell, I want to, I understand from you, how do you see the future of digital for your businesses? Hirak, I'll start with you on this first.
It will never be digital only.
Okay.
What we can see in India. See, that depends on the products and the line of product. Yes, we can. There will be the opportunity of investment in traditional media and digital media will increase. In the traditional platform, the options will be less, experimentation low, investment high, and in digital there will be investment low and experimentation high. So more and more, but I think that the way the things are moving right now, the digital expense will also be at par with traditional because it will be a investment of compulsion rather than an investment of choice in near future. So from investment point of view, that is something we can take back, and for digitally to experiment with our products and to cater to a larger spectrum, that we are always hoping. And if it is if the choice is given, and if hypothetical based on a hypothetical future, what we can think of, if it is digital only in future, it will be better for each and every brand, because there are a lot of things to experiment on, and quality conscious awareness and the quality conscious consumers will be coming up, and the valuation of the product will be given, because there is no one-on-one negotiations going on when placing your products at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Vineet, what are your thoughts? How do you see the future of digital for your business?
See, I think many times we confuse with the thing, it's a either or kind of thing. It's a physical or digital, or it's like online or offline. I think ultimately the things which is emerging, like from the business point of view, it's a omni. And obviously the same customer or same consumers we are addressing and targeting the same set of customers who are coming and consuming through online also, through offline also. So obviously, when we are looking at the future, obviously digital mix will certainly go up, which we have realized in the last 1 year journey also, and it will certainly go up. There is no any doubt on that. But yes, everything will coexist. The allocation may improve and may increase in the digital segment. There is no any doubt on that. And yes, at the same time, when you target the TGs like more towards the youth, obviously your allocation towards the digital should be on the higher side comparatively. So that's a mix you have to balance out in terms of addressing your TG, addressing your product, and but ultimately net, yes, the allocation will go up. There is no any doubt and debate.
Right. Swapnil, what's your thoughts?
First of all, very happy to see brands saying that digital spends will increase. Happiest of the lot. So I'll give an example that I keep giving in my speaking engagements when it comes to the future of digital in my industry. So if you look at IT as a function 10 years ago, it was a support function, right? And now it's a core function for every business. And same will happen with digital. I am a strong supporter of Hirak's thought process, where he said that it won't be digital only. Print will come up with its innovations, TV will come with its innovations, and there will be a healthy competition for a share of the pie, of the spending pie from the brands. So I'll leave you with this thought that yes, digital will grow, but it will not take 100% of the pie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Finally, Meet, what do you think?
Devesh, I think what will happen, or what is already happening is sort of the mediums are getting merged somewhere. So
Right.
today, we have a lot of digital hoardings. News as a means of information has moved from paper to also digital. So the way people are consuming information is also sort of getting there's sort of a transparent line between what is traditional and what is digital. And people will look at it in a few years as marketing and not separately as traditional marketing and digital marketing. One thing to consider, and what we've been discussing right now, is the marketing end of it, but it's also the opportunities of digital products and digital experiences that are coming into play right now. So Vineet will be experimenting with something related to digital fashion, where someone might be able to try experience dresses online, or a lot of cosmetic brands are also doing a lot of these things. So is real estate. So real estate has a lot of 360 experiences for you to look at your home. So a journey of a consumer may start maybe from looking at a hoarding somewhere, to searching the product online, to viewing the product online, to coming to an experience center, looking at the actual home, and then doing the purchase. So the consumer also fluctuates between different channels, and so will marketing in itself stay at both the channels.
Absolutely. We have talked about the phygital play. Great. And finally, Niti, your thoughts?
I mean, I'm going to say what Swapnil said. Very happy that digital spends are growing. I think what I'd like to maybe plug in is that while digital will become meaningful, a journey that we all have on is maybe stop, and that's something that everybody's saying, that it won't be like only one channel of media will become
Absolutely.
dominant. All will work together. And in that spirit, it's imperative that we start looking at the goals that we set for our digital business or digital media is very close to our business goals. We can't look at it only as a media channel, or only as, we have to start setting goals which mimic what our business really cares about. And then
Right.
when we start unify, in from one point of view, start assessing what is the value of a particular channel to our business, then is when it will become more meaningful, more sustainable, and more valuable for our
Absolutely.
businesses.
Absolutely.
There is just adding one thing, like one thing which we are missing, and like getting the efficacy of the spend. So obviously we are spending in the leap of faith as on today, and obviously some sort of result we are getting. The performance marketing, that's a very costly medium, but still we are using, and some sort of the result and efficacy we can measure through that. But when we are talking the other aspects of the digital spend and all, still the metrics are missing as on today. Like I'm just giving one small example, like giving the paper advertisement on Saturday. We see the some blip in the business ASAP on the same day or the Sunday itself. But somewhere I don't know how to measure the digital part. So that is, I think, the key thing, and I believe with the time it will come into, and the things will evolve also.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely on this one. Great, great, great. Some very interesting insights came out of the discussion, how, digital products will play in the future, and how, all of you guys are leveraging the, digital marketing, some are leveraging influencers, others are looking at the content, how information needs to be talked about. And like Swapnil and Niti mentioned that, that it's interesting, how brands are looking to spend more on digital, that keeps the sentiment alive. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking out time and joining the discussion today. It was lovely interacting with you, and you guys have shared some really very interesting insights. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And my next guest for the day is Mr. Love Raghav, Head of Branding, JK Cement. Welcome, Love.
Thank you, Devesh. Thank you for having me here to share my thoughts today on digital marketing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Love, post-pandemic, for many brands, conversation has shifted from allocating budgets for, traditional and digital marketing. And digital has become very primary medium, for a lot of brands to build awareness. So how are you seeing that shift, in JK Cement's position on digital, when it comes to the overall marketing efforts?
Devesh, pandemic has taught us a lot of new things. We had seen businesses going down during pandemic. At the same time, we have also seen businesses booming during the period, and thanks to digital for that, for sure. Pandemic has actually revolutionized digital marketing space. It is not like digital marketing was not into play before pandemic, but the extensive use of digital marketing was actually limited to the brands which were being traded online, or I can say the e-commerce industry was actually using the digital space more efficiently. The pandemic was also a big learning for other industries or sectors which are not into e-commerce space to use digital marketing for scaling up their businesses. Business segments like ours, which is more of B2B business segment, were actually limited to brand awareness and brand recall primarily. So activities which were being taken up by industry like ours, we were mainly into topical content on social media platforms, running a digital media campaign, and promoting static or video content through programmatic ads. So these were the basic activities. The industries which were into B2B segment, they were actually utilizing digital space in this format. When I talk about JK Cement, we are also going up quite strong on digital marketing front, and utilizing this space as one of our major communication channels to reach out to our consumers. We have started extending the use of digital marketing efforts before pandemic itself. Our focus has gone higher on digital marketing initiative to reach out to our consumers in last couple of years. Other than, if I say, running regular programmatic ads, search engine marketing, social media marketing for brand awareness, we also work upon integrated brand strategies and utilizing the digital marketing space to amplify the brand communication and swiftly reaching out to our target audience.
Okay. So is the brand objective only about awareness when it comes to digital marketing, or you're also looking at performance side?
So Devesh, if I talk about our business segment, the primary objective used to be, I would say, for last, till before pandemic, I'll say, it was mainly into brand awareness and brand recall domain only.
Right.
But now we have started utilizing digital marketing for lead generation as well. And in that case, performance marketing is something which is really, really helpful and helping brands like us to know about our customers' preferences, their buying pattern. We are also getting a lot of lead generation. We are getting queries and feedbacks also at the same time from our customers. So there's a structural shift for sure from brand awareness to lead generation kind of model in our business domain as well.
So very rightly, so what are the kind of brand objectives that you have aligned with digital when it comes to the overall digital marketing for JK Cement?
Devesh, so first and foremost objective of digital marketing is direct marketing for sure. So it's a tool which give you access to reach out to your target audience quickly, through just a click. If I talk about B2B category per se, where we are operating in, so primarily we were utilizing this space, digital space, for brand awareness and brand recall activities. But now we have started moving beyond brand awareness and utilizing digital marketing for other activities like providing customer technical support, engaging our dealers, influencers, channel partners digitally, conducting online research to understand the consumer behavior, lead generation, promoting value-added services to our channel partners and influencers. So these are, some of activities we have started beyond brand awareness, and which are providing good mileage to us also in this space.
Okay. So it's not just only brand awareness that you're looking at, but you're also looking at in terms of lead generations, overall in terms of performance also.
Yes, definitely. So we have migrated from brand awareness. We are migrating actually from brand awareness to next level, like engaging with the consumers, with the channel partners, and also working upon model which could help us in lead generation for the businesses. So that is something also we have started doing for last couple of years. And now we are trying to design our campaigns in such a way that we could measure the performance of our campaigns and could understand the kind of business we are able to generate through that campaign specifically. So I think that's a structural shift we have got into, and I think we are also learning and improving our campaigns, having the past learnings through our campaigns.
It's very interesting, Love, how in the B2B categories, you've started talking about the measurement, so that brings me to next question. I mean, like, what are the key matrices or, key indices that you keep for the measurements? How do you measure the effectiveness of the digital dollars that you have spent?
If I talk about our industry per se, so it is quite premature to talk about return on investment through our digital campaigns and digital marketing initiatives, because the kind of direct linkages of business growth through digital marketing activities is not really significant right now, and the impact is also not immediate. Mm-hmm. So if you ask me, in my opinion, the right parameter to evaluate the success of digital marketing in our domain per se would be reach and engagement rate we are achieving through our digital marketing initiatives and campaigns. Now we are gradually moving to the performance marketing as well, which I just mentioned in my previous statement. So now we have started calculating the cost for a lead generation, for a lead generated for the business, and then kind of sales conversion we have actually achieved out of that lead. How many business inquiries we are getting, so we are measuring those inquiries also. So definitely such things are happening in our space as well now, and it's giving us good benefits also.
Right. So the most important thing that brands are deploying digital for is to open a two-way communication street. So have you been able to develop that that two-way communication between the brand and the customer through digital marketing? Because traditional channels were all mostly static. They were only one side of communication. You're only talking to the consumer but not able to hear back the consumer. With these digital marketing efforts, is that two-way communication getting open for B2B players like yours?
Certainly, Devesh. If you see, now the internet is penetrated across everywhere, and today's customer is very learned, very much aware. So we can't have this one-way communication in any of the businesses. If we really have to grow and get adapted, we have to have this two-way communication to understand the requirement of our consumers, and it is also very important to stay connected with the consumers on regular basis, so that we can adapt those changes on real-time basis and come up with the products and services which really fit best to their need. So I would say yes, in B2B segment also we are moving towards this two-way communication, which is actually helping us also to improve our business operations. We understand their requirement, their lead time, their expectation of delivery, other things also, which helps us to improvise our businesses.
And also love, I mean, like, have you seen a difference in the reception of, your digital initiatives, the digital marketing initiatives in the Bharat markets versus the non-Bharat markets? Have you seen kind of a difference in the reception towards these campaigns?
Not exactly. So, cement is a product which is deeply into the rural segment. Major share of our revenue that lies in this tier 2, tier 3 rural market. So, fortunately, these markets are consumption-based markets. So the effect of recession is not that much in our domain. Cement is something which is still in India at a very low per capita consumption level. So the scope is very high, and I think we are seeing good growth annually. I think this year also we're expecting some double-digit growth in the overall volume of cement industry.
Right. And finally, I mean, like, are you shifting your traditional budgets, to digital marketing budgets? Obviously, I mean, like, not the large pie of the traditional budgets would go into the digital marketing budgets, because, cement, as everybody knows, relies very heavily on the traditional marketing budgets. There's point of sale, there's larger than life holdings, there are television campaigns, print campaigns, multitudes of things. But as we have discussed in last some time, I'm kind of understanding that you are ramping up efforts on the digital medium. So I believe there is a shift of some kind of budgets from the traditional side to digital sides. How do you see that?
So I'll not say it's tricky, but yes, Devesh. So shift is happening for sure. Conventionally, in our domain, mediums like ATL, outdoor, BTL. So these activities actually dominate the branding space in our industry. But with the growing consumption and penetration of internet, especially in tier 2, tier 3, and rural markets, we are finding digital media also a very effective tool for our brand promotions and to reach out to our consumers quickly. For that reason, definitely, we have increased our digital marketing spend multifold in the last few years. Also would like to mention, we do periodic research and surveys to understand our target consumers' behavior, media preferences, and consumption patterns, so that we could choose the right media mix to communicate our brand message to our consumers. And that also helps us to take corrective action at any given point in time, whether we have adopted the right strategy or not. So I would say that we are quite dynamic and flexible in our brand budgets approach, and that is helping us out to meet the market requirement.
Okay. And in the near future, it's pretty evident that digital doesn't look like a fad, or it's like a short-term behavior. It's a long-term thing which is gonna stay with the consumers. So, do you see your investments growing towards this medium in the coming future?
Certainly, Devesh. I think, as I mentioned earlier, also. So every year, or after every point in time, there has to be some kind of change in the strategy that we have been using. So, and definitely we also have to migrate to the next level. So as I told you, initially we were in the space of brand awareness and brand recall. Then gradually we moved to lead generation part. And also we are utilizing digital space for improvising our business operations. I think now the next challenge is to get into e-commerce domain, where we could actually also get our product to reach out to the end consumer, end user directly. And that's where I think the need of the hour is to work. For that, for sure, the spend, the focus on digital marketing will increase for sure. And brands really have to work in that direction to get this done, because the buying pattern, the expectation of the consumers are also changing day by day. So the consumer is very much aware. They are having, all the information which they want, and they know what is good, what is bad. Free flow of information is helping businesses also to be on toes right now.
True.
And that will keep on happening. That will keep on growing. So I think, yes, the shift will definitely happen towards in bigger way in digital marketing space.
It will be very exciting. Love to see, brands like JK Cement delivering cement. We order everything today online, from food to groceries, and it always used to be a dream. I mean, like, one could never think of it, but today one can't live without it. But yeah, still, looking at, cement as a category where I can order two, sacks of cement, or, 2 sacks of white POP, ordering online just to do a DIY thing, or maybe, add to the overall ongoing construction at my house. It's very interesting and very exciting future ahead, I believe.
Yeah. So Devesh, what I think, lastly, I'll add, the conventional method definitely will remain there. We can't do this because the nature of cement business is like this only. Because when we construct a house, we do not require cement and the entire cement lot in one go. It is a phase-wise construction model where we need building material time to time. But yes, as you have rightly said, for DIY purpose or for short-term, for short requirements, definitely, such things will help. And for bulk order also, I hope in near future, some kind of model will definitely come up where end consumer will be connected to the company directly. But I'll say what I'm seeing, definitely both the models will remain in the picture. And gradually, I think digital marketing space will also help scaling up the businesses in generating revenues for sure.
Absolutely, Love. Thank you very much for joining, Love. It was really lovely interacting with you, and gaining some insights on an industry where we do not usually interact on a daily basis. And like you mentioned, the future of the cement industry, how people can order, people would order cement online, like the way they do groceries and they do other food. So it will be very interesting to see how the future shapes up for this industry, especially in the digital marketing domain. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Devesh.
Yeah.